my name is Jade Rappoon, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the Salvation Army in place of my group members. So, the Salvation Army has been around for about 142 years. Their ideology is best described by their mission statement. The Salvation Army, an international movement, is an evangelical part of the Universal Christian Church. Its message is based on the Bible. Its ministry is motivated by the love of God. Its mission is to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ and to meet his human needs in his name without discrimination. If you're like us, you were very unaware of the fact that the Salvation Army is in fact its own religion. I assumed that it was run by Christian people, but I did not know that it was its own sect of Christianity. When we first got assigned this, we were a little bit disappointed that we didn't have one of the other religions, because it seemed a bit boring to us, but we actually learned a lot of really interesting information we would like to share with you. So, to know why the Salvation Army came about, we have to look at why the other religions before it came about. So, this is an overview that I made of the time. So, this is a timeline that I created to show how the religion has developed and brought us to the creation of the Salvation Army. So it all began with Canaanite polytheism. It went to Judaism, Christianity. Christianity and Catholicism came out about the same exact time when Jesus was born. Then way later came the Church of England, the Wesleyan Methodists, and then lastly the Salvation Army. So Canaanite polytheism began approximately 2000 BC. As we know, polytheism means to have many gods, and Abraham, who's the father of Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, worshipped the god El as his specific god. El is considered in Canaanite polytheism to be the God Most High and the god of other gods. So Abraham claimed that El was speaking to him and essentially saying, I'm the only true God, and none of these other gods that you're worshipping should be being worshipped. It should only be me, leading to the creation of Judaism, which is a monotheistic religion. Until Exodus, when Moses was around, the Jews only knew God by the name El or El Shaddai, which is a common used name in the Christian religion even today. Then Moses gave them the name of Yahweh. One of the major changes from Canaanite polytheism was the end of human sacrifice and no more sexualization within the religion. So Jews decided they were going to sacrifice animals as a covenant between them and God rather than people, and there was going to be no more sex as part of their religion. Canaanites often would have their priestesses and their leaders have sex, creating a form of a demigod, they would believe. A major thing that led to Christianity was the fact that Jews are still waiting for their Messiah, but Christians believe that Jesus came and died for their sins, leaving him to be the Messiah. So around the same time, Christianity in a general sense was developed, as well as Catholicism. Catholicism, though, came about because Paul and Simon Peter, who were disciples of Jesus, were writing letters to the people of Rome, and the people in Rome were taking those letters and they were following them very closely, which ended up leading to the creation of Catholicism. Down the road, the Church of England was created, all because King Henry VIII wanted a divorce from his wife who was not bearing him a son. So the Pope told him, no, that's against our morals, I will not let you get a divorce. And he said, okay, I will make my own church then. So he did, and he was in charge, so he was allowed to get a divorce. And the church is still around today. It's very structured around being a monarch, so somebody that's in charge and having different parts of it that are governmental and ruling over different aspects of the church. The Wesleyan Methodists ended up coming around a few years later because John Wesley, who was part of the Church of England as a deacon, decided that there needed to be a little bit of reform. He ended up getting groups of people together to study the Bible, which with a lot of dedication, study the prayers, and go minister what they learned to people in prisons. They were known to be Methodists because of their methodical devotion to the study of the religion. And this continued on for quite a while until a guy named William Booth came around and decided that the Methodists were too middle class, and so were all the other churches in England. He knew that the original goal was to minister to those like they were in prisons, and that they were no longer focusing on reaching those kind of groups. So he started to preach to the unwanted lower class people because he believed that they were people that deserve to be in a church community, that they shouldn't be shunned away because of their life circumstances. And that was how the Salvation Army came to be. So this is a map of where those locations all are today of the Salvation Army. So they started off in England, like I said. It's obviously spread around Europe, and then it came to the U.S. It's now in a lot of countries, almost all of the countries, as you can see. And each of the countries has their own website that you can visit to learn more about their specific group, but all of them do have the same morals in general, like the same core constructs. And some of those core constructs are the primary mission being to serve God by helping others. They serve people under any circumstances without any form of discrimination. Like I said, they serve people that are in prison, helping them make a new life for themselves, whether it was in the 1800s or today, they will still do that. They also share similar beliefs to most other Christian groups, such as the belief in one God, the Bible was inspired by God, Christ atoned for the sins of the world, and that repentance and faith in Jesus are what is necessary for salvation. This group truly shows that actions speak louder than words do. Where many other Christian groups will say that they follow the core beliefs of Jesus Christ, this group actually takes that into action by showing the four core values they believe Jesus had, being hope, service, dignity, and stewardship. And they act that out on their communities. Some of their other beliefs are that there's a military hierarchy. They're accepting of women preachers, which is not always common in certain sects of Christianity. Baptism is not necessary for the salvation. Many churches believe that for you to go to heaven, you have to be baptized, but you don't have to be in the Salvation Army. You can be if you would like to, but it is not a requirement for membership. They also do not partake in communion. The Salvation Army is also not extremely hardcore on their set in stone beliefs. They believe that living a holy life and receiving the grace of God can take place regardless of whether a person participates in specific religious rituals or not, which is likely what leads to them not partaking in baptism and communion to have to be part of the group. So the Salvation Army has many donations, and I'm sure that's what all of us know them for. It's what I only knew them for was collecting things to help those in need, having the red outfits on, standing outside of a store, shaking a bell at you, asking for money. So their mission is to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ as we meet human needs in His name without discrimination. They work towards this by running programs that help the lost, the vulnerable, the needy, the poor, the hurting, and the helpless without discrimination. They also have a donation system involving people donating money to the organization or donating items to their thrift store locations, which is then spread out to those that are in need. The money the Salvation Army receives does go to funding the organization. It pays for their employees and supporting charity programs. There are several ways that people can make donations to the organization. Some of them are donating money through their website with just one payment or by having monthly donations. You can also donate to items at thrift stores, like we said. There's also Delta Airlines has used different kinds of transport personnel as being Salvation Army employees, sponsoring a child in need, and donating a vehicle. The money from donations goes into funding many charity programs. These programs include adult rehabilitation centers, homeless shelters, disaster relief, food pantries, housing assistance, employment assistance, and job training, veteran services, and many more. 20% of the money the Salvation Army gets from donations goes into funding their adult rehabilitation centers. This is a very popular aspect of the Salvation Army, and many people do receive a lot of help from this. Like we said before, they have a heavy focus on the ranking and military style of the church. Their administrative structure can be best described as being top-down and strongly hierarchical. The military structure is a legacy of the Salvation Army's beginnings in London in mid-19th century. The organizational style has proven effective in making the Army a highly disciplined and mobile organization. This allows them to respond quickly and effectively to human needs whenever or wherever it arises. The Salvation Army officers are ordained pastors. They can also serve as administrators, teachers, social workers, counselors, youth leaders, or musicians. Non-officers or non-church members are called soldiers, and ranking of officers is listed in this photo here. Promotion is based on the length of service, character, efficiency, capacity for increased responsibility, and the devotion to the duty. All official positions, with the exception of general, are appointed. The general is an international leader and selected by a high council of active duty commissioners and territorial commanders. Like I said before, the church is a very governmental type of structure. This is similar to the Catholic Church and the Church of England, where somebody is above the other one. But unlike the Catholic Church, there is no specific holiness placed over one individual. Instead, the generals and the leaders of these groups act as someone that's organizing and more of like a boss or manager type of position than someone that has special godly authority. They also are similar to other types of Christian denominations, as well as Islam, by their stress of the importance of volunteer work and donations. We hope that by watching this today, you've learned something about the Salvation Army that you didn't already know before. They are a commonly unknown sect of Christianity, but deserve the recognition for who they truly are. They are someone that helps our community in many different ways without having to push their morals or standards on anyone else. They just want to help out and do what they're asked to do by their religious figures. Thank you so much for taking your time to watch this. Have a good rest of your quarantine.